Buckle up, kids, because your favorite woman with a victim complex and mine is back. Jessica Price, the fired ArenaNet and Paizo employee, is back telling us how ArenaNet is responsible for the toxicity and the attacks on women in the game development world. Now, if you need a little backstory on this, last month, around the July 4th holiday in the United States, Jessica Price did a 25 Twitter post tweet thing. It's not even really a thread. I mean, that's kind of not how it works. But anyways, it's a 25 tweet thread about how difficult it can be to write out, to flesh out the story in the background for the player character in an MMORPG, an open MMORPG like World of Warcraft and Guild Wars 2, and how it differs from a closed game like Skyrim or Fable. Jessica Price decided that she would tell people or give her perspective on why it is difficult. And reading it, I could agree with what she was saying. That's right. Me, a person who has criticized her attitude, who thinks that she is a shitty individual, can say, you know what, she had some good points and I can see where she's coming from. But that stops well short of her reaction to somebody who came in and said, I don't really agree with you. I don't think that that's a very realistic or a very decent position to take. Now, whether or not you agree with her position is immaterial when Doror, a content creator from Guild Wars 2, a YouTuber, a Twitch streamer who had been with the game for God knows how long at this point, but far longer than Jessica Price had been, came in and said very kindly, very humbly, very professionally, I don't really agree with you, and here's why. Jessica's response wasn't to engage in dialogue. Jessica's response wasn't to say, you know, you have a few good points, let's rebut them here. No, it was to say that he was a sexist for questioning what she said. He was a misogynist for saying, Jessica, I don't really agree, and here's why. And when he realized that Jessica was looking to be combative, Jessica was looking to be there's really no other word for it. She was looking to be a cunt, okay? That's what Jessica really wanted to be. He bowed out, very respectfully too. He apologized for upsetting her. He shouldn't have, but he was very kind about it. And on July 5th, Mike O'Brien posted on the forums that Jessica had been let go alongside Peter Freeze, another developer who had been with the company for 12, 13 years, because he had been just as combative and defended Jessica being a bitch. Fine, whatever. Now, Kotaku, Polygon, they all kind of picked up on the story. They all did their little thing where they said, hey, you know what? This woman was punished because her reproductive organs are on the inside. And that wasn't true. We all know it. But Kotaku and Polygon, the lanky, soy-chugging, hipster-looking motherfuckers who don't understand that we really don't care about their perspective because it's usually a low IQ perspective. They needed to defend Milady's honor. They needed to throw on their fedoras, their trilbies really, because they don't wear fedoras. But that's neither here nor there. They posted about how she was punished for being a woman. That wasn't even remotely true. We all know this. On the 11th, Jessica posted the following. Hi everyone, I've got a thing to say, and then I'm going back off Twitter for a bit because I've had a vacation planned for a while, and I intend to take it to the fullest. Now, please bear with me, there are 2 threads we're going to go through with Jessica, and they're both a bit of a whopper. I apologize for that. Not really. If you've been watching my videos, you know that I don't really do anything short and sweet anymore. You can respond if you want, but I've got any notifications from people I don't follow muted, and I'm not going to check responses. If you're a legit industry press person and want to get in contact, we have mutual networks through which you can do that. So right off the bat, Jessica says, yeah, I want exposure. I want to get my name out there, and I want to be the perpetual victim. And if you're actually with the press, then you can get in contact with me because we have the same friends. I almost feel like there may have been a movement not too long ago in which some people took issue with the fact that there were game press journalists, quote unquote, who were very buddy-buddy with game developers and the like, almost like there was a lack of ethics in the gaming journalism. I wonder if there was. I might have to go look that up. Maybe Mundane Matt can tell me. I don't know. But that really, you know, if you can contact them, why are you putting this out there? Let's read on. Here's the thing you should be noting if you're a game dev. Once again, Jessica, you are a writer, not a game dev. Let's get that phrase out of your vocabulary, especially when referring to yourself, because once again, you only took creative writing classes in college for a stupid little 4-year degree. You didn't go through actual coding classes. Much of the narrative around this has been around, 1, that I was fired, you were fired, and 2, whether there was a warning or discussion. That's missing a big portion of this, so let's talk about not how I was fired, but how it was announced. The announcement was an escalation. The company could have chosen to say, their remarks don't represent the company, we don't agree with what they said, and they're no longer with the company. Well, that's kind of what they did. They literally said, your remarks do not speak for the company. We're going to read that in a bit. We don't agree with what they said. Once again, they said that, and you're no longer with the company. The fact that they didn't even throw your name out there speaks volumes. Yeah, we all know who they were talking about, but it speaks volumes of Mike O'Brien and ArenaNet and how professional they were throughout the entire thing. But that's not what they did. They framed an interaction on my personal social media in which I told a few individuals who I thought were being assholes that I wasn't on the clock and wasn't going to feign affection for people who were being assholes as attacks on the community. Well, once again, here's the problem, Jessica. You put in your Twitter bio, ArenaNet writer. When you put your profession and the company that you work for in your Twitter bio and then you start posting on Twitter, guess what? You kind of take an impromptu position as a spokesperson for the company, whether it's intentional or not. And Mike O'Brien spoke about that. You cannot say, I work for the company. By the way, all opinions are my own. That's not how it works. When you decide to say something that tarnishes the company, like, I don't know, being combative and an asshole to people who buy the company's product, guess what? It's no longer your personal Twitter. The company has every right to come in and swiftly kick you down the stairs. That's how it works, Jessica. They knew, or at least had a responsibility to know, in 2018, what would happen to a female game dev who was fired in response to an exchange about sexism. It would have been bad enough if they had just fired me and announced I was fired. Well, here we go again. I'm a victim. I was fired for being combative and assholish. And now it's even worse because they announced I was fired. Well, no goddamn shit. You got what you put yourself into. You got your comeuppance. And yeah, there are people who are going to take a lot of delight in the fact that, you know, as Quartering says, get woke, go broke. You brought this on yourself. I don't know how to say this and get it through your thick skull. But they escalated. They pointed to Peter and me as enemies of the community. That wasn't just firing us and, oh well, if they get harassed, them's the breaks. That was an active solicitation of harassment. No, they said these people don't speak for us, and they were properly handled because they were combative. That's not solicitation. At no point does Mike O'Brien go, hey, you guys can go harass them, I don't care. No, at no point does that happen. And their silence in condemning the harassment is profoundly telling. There was a fair amount of criticism directed at major game companies in 2014-2015 for not standing up for their female marginalized employees, but their failure, wow. But holy crap, you're a writer and you used the wrong there. But their failure, that should be T-H-E-R-E. I'm proofreading for you, Jessica, given it's like a month later, but whatever. That's gonna freaking drive me insane. I apologize. None of them escalated the harassment of developers in this way. They were aware that I was going to get deluged with threats, harassment, etc. The firing wasn't the punishment. The use of the mob was. You decide to be combative and hostile towards people, and you think, this couldn't in any way, shape, or form blow up in my face. Well, guess what? It did, didn't it? And I'm not sure what they can possibly do to reassure their employees, let alone every other dev in the industry whose backs they've painted targets on, that they won't use the mob to punish any employee who they feel has gotten too uppity. Why is it you were held accountable for your actions, Jessica? You were combative. You were hostile. You attacked someone who didn't attack you, who was very respectful in every way, shape, and form. Far more respectful than I would have been when it came to you. Okay? I'm going to be completely honest with you. If you had been this much of a bitch to me, and you had been this hostile, I would not have been nice to you. I would have put you right in your place. And right in your place was on the back foot. Right in your place was being reminded that you're an employee and that you're an individual who speaks for the company, because once again, you put, I'm a writer for ArenaNet in your Twitter bio. You can't divest your professional and personal Twitter when they're one in the same. Mike O'Brien said the exact same thing. And I'm not sure what they can possibly do to reassure their employees, let alone oh, I've already read that. I'm sorry. Oh, one more thing. Mike O'Brien's most recent statement reduces my contribution to Guild Wars 2 to one scene from one episode. Given how often women's work is raised and minimized, that's especially egregious. So for the record, before we go into that, let's actually look at what she's talking about. On Polygon, they reached out to Mike O'Brien for comment, which, you know, good job. At least there was a little bit of integrity there. It's in the first paragraph. Jessica had identified herself as an ArenaNet employee on Reddit and Twitter, had been discussing episode 3 storytelling with fans on Reddit, then had written a 25-part tweet about how we tell stories in MMOs, relating it back to episode 3. She was representing the company. The expectation was to behave professionally and respectfully, or at least walk away. Instead, she attacked. Mike's not saying all she did was episode 3. That's not what he's saying. What he's saying is she wrote a 25-part about episode 3. She was discussing the storytelling for episode 3. It was relevant to what was going on. He did not say all she did was episode 3 and that's it. Sorry, Jessica, that's not what he said. So, no. But going back to her tweet. Everything in Guild Wars 2 is made by a team. Okay, that's fair, I can agree with that. There's no content that's made by one person, but in terms of influence, the entire season is mine. I led the season story breaking meetings. I led the episode outlining meetings, and every line of dialogue went through me. Everything you've said of the story so far this season is my work, and you're going to be seeing my work in it for a long time. A bunch of the content you'll be seeing is also work led by women, female team and game design leads, female writing leads, female cinematics leads. It's the best content Guild Wars 2 has produced. Women in this industry lead and aren't going anywhere. Okay. So once again, it doesn't matter if you're a guy or a gal. If you can do the job, if you can lead, you're going to lead. But here's where Jessica proves that she's not a team player. It should have been incredibly obvious to begin with that she wasn't a team player, because she threw them all under the bus when she decided to be an absolute bitch. I don't know how to actually, say it any better than that. That's really the best way to put it. In the military, everybody is taught to be a team member. Yeah, you always have a team leader, but everybody needs to be part of the same team. It's no different in a company like Blizzard or ArenaNet or Tryon or whatever. Everybody is part of a team. The individual contributions might be there. You might be able to say that the contributions are very much the individual contributions. You might be able to point at them, but guess what? It's still part of a team. Whether for good or for bad, the team is either praised or punished because of their decisions, because of the content they put out. Here's Jessica once again trying to tell us it's all about me. I'm the victim here. Nobody cares. Now that's where I'm going to end it with Jessica's little rant here. Because I'm going over to here. See, 29th of July, ArenaNet's continued refusal to condemn the increase in harassment they've subjected numerous women in the industry to is pretty telling. I know that it's hard for companies to find the spine to take controversial moral stands, but you'd think, hey, stop threatening to rape and kill female devs. Their families and their pets would be, low-hanging fruit everyone could get behind. How is ArenaNet responsible for this? Assuming it's happening, because I'm going to be honest, it's just like with Anita Sarkeesian when she said that she was receiving death threats. And it comes out that the death threats were written by herself. She wasn't getting them from detractors. She wrote them. She wrote those death threats to herself. She got caught doing it. And Jessica Price is taking a page out of their book. She's taking a page out of Zoe Quinn, Anita Sarkeesian, Brianna Wu's book of claim to be the victim and claim that it's everybody else's fault and back it up with lies that are so grandiose that it's impossible to believe that they could either be true or wrong. Are there people out there who are probably harassing women in the gaming industry? Yeah. Are they gamers? More than likely not. These are individuals who, like with 4chan, who, like with any other group, any other socially inept, neck-bearded, the people who need to be removed from polite society, they're all going to do this whether you want them to or not. And there's nothing we can do about it. In the United States, you can't arrest them for it unless they make an actual threat, in which case, Jessica, you should probably be filing police reports, but you won't. Instead, you're going to say, ArenaNet, their refusal to condemn the increase of harassment, and by the way, you should take Jessica's statement on the matter as gospel. She doesn't have to provide anything. She just has to say it's happening, and you should believe her, or you're a misogynist. Fuck that noise. Jessica, the harassment you're getting, and I'm using the term harassment very loosely here because it's not. You got your comeuppance for being a bitch, nothing more. You gave the company a black eye. And they came back and said, you know what, unacceptable, bye. Paizo did the exact same thing to you. You would think you might have learned after Paizo, but no. Jessica needed to be the perpetual victim of her own little narrative. Despite the good she may have done, and I'm once again, I will say the Kadira book for Pathfinder is one of the best ancillary pieces you can get. I highly recommend it if you play Pathfinder. It doesn't detract from the fact that Jessica is a toxic individual. An individual who probably should have had her ass beat as a child in order to get these notions of being a perpetual victim out of her head. But she wasn't, and she's going to continue to act like a spoiled child until such time as somebody comes in and says, Jessica, I have a little bit of sway. You're not a victim. Jessica was saying she was getting all these emails from individuals in the game development world, how they were incredibly supportive of her. And yet the one thing she can't tell us that she's getting is job offers. And why is that? Because Jessica Price has put her ass out there and said, I'm a loudmouth bitch. I will bring shame. I will bring anger and hatred towards your company because I can. And no company is going to put their bottom line on the line to assuage Jessica, to give her a little bit of help. Because at the end of the day, it's all about keeping the other people employed as well. Jessica wants to play the victim. The real victims here were the other people whose jobs she threatened when she decided to be the bitch she is.